fellow string pickers. Run to the noise. Let's go!
Are you really gonna look at this cute face and not subscribe?
Hey, bet you never heard a cheap budget telly sound like this.
Five minutes later.
Welcome back, you bunch of string picking guys and gals out there, to the String Pickers channel here at My Obscene Studio. Well, what'd you think? It's hard to believe you can get tones like that out of, a cheap old indie Telecaster thingy, huh? It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. But string pickers, this thing has a problem that has to be resolved. I am selling this guitar. I have someone who is very interested in buying it, and everything on this guitar turned out so great, and I do love this guitar. I do, but someone is wanting this guitar and they want it really bad. They've played it, they enjoyed it, but it has a problem.
He's talking about that thing right there.
Yep. Just like Billy said, the nut. This is a plastic nut. I'm almost certain, probably the one that came with this guitar. I think that it is finally just eat down for enough to where it's starting to ring out. If I put the feeler gauge on it, the feeler gauge does really good on the top strings here, the second string, the D string's fine, the G string's fine, but coming up from the bottom, we have a problem. The E string is too low. So is the B string. So I'm going to shut off the noise cancellation on my mic just here for a second so you guys can hear what this sounds like room sound. Okay, now we're on room sound, so let's do some picking. Did you hear that? I hear it, and it does irk me.
Today's word is irk.
If I know a problem is there, I can't just simply overlook it, especially when I'm selling the instrument. I might overlook it for a little while, repair it down the road, but I have someone who wants this guitar and wants it bad. They love the looks of it, they love how it plays, how it feels and everything, but I don't like that. So I am going to get into something that I got into back in the series that I did on my PV year after when I put a brass nut in that guitar, and it turned out really well. Still play the crap out of that thing. So I'm going to do that to this one. I'm going to show you two ways to solve this problem. The ultimate way to solve this problem is with a brass nut, and I will show you a fix for that as we go through this once we get it on the bench. Other than that, this thing sounds great. It's got great cleans. It's got great distortion. I mean, it's just a great guitar to have in your arsenal. So you get what I mean, don't you? Don't you? You get it, don't you? So we're going to just put this thing on the bench today. We're going to loosen these strings up here, and we're going to move these strings out of the way and pop this junky plastic nut out of here. And we are going to put in the Cain's brass nut. They have two styles of the brass nut. They have the one that I'm going to put in here that is measured for Fender and Tele style guitars at 42 millimeter. Actually, it's just a hair under that. But they also have a 43 millimeter that is for LP style guitars. I've not tried one of those yet, but my buddy John over at Smoke Eater Guitars, he tried one out. He did have to shim his. I'm not sure if it's like that on other guitars, but I do want to try it on an LP style guitar that I have in this studio and see if I run into the same problem. But however, right now, we are going to put this thing on the bench and we're going to get this thing took care of, and I'll show you just how easy it is to put in the Strat and Tele style Cain's brass nut. So how about y'all join me on the bench back here and let's give this thing a look-see. And shazam, just like that, we are right here at the bench. Okay, got strings loosened up. Let's get these pulled to one side. I generally like to do this without taking the strings completely off, and you don't have to take the strings completely off. What I normally like to do is get something like a zip tie, something like that, you know, and then what I'll do is I'll run just like this right here, then I'll come up through this side right here with the zip tie, and then we just go back around like this, bend that zip tie right under the bottom. You don't have to pull it tight, you just got to put it through there. This is one of those zip ties that you can release, so that helps out a bunch, and then that keeps your strings out of the way. And then whenever I'm done, all I got to do is hit that little release thing and then just take the zip tie off. Reusable zip ties, ladies and gentlemen, that is the way to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this, and in order to do that, you can take, there's a couple of different methods that you can do. What I generally like to do, so as no hunks of wood come out with it, is get a razor blade right up against the nut, and usually if it's tight, which this one is, I'll take my little fret hammer here and I'll peck down on it just a little there, just a little here, just a little there, and then I'll get on this side over here and I'll do the same thing, and that will break loose any glue that's attached to the side of that slot down in there. So, and just go across it a few times like that. Once you get that took care of, all you need really is just a flathead screwdriver, and I happen to have a little flathead screwdriver right here. And what I do, so as I don't hit the fretboard here, I just run this straight up and down, put it right on the edge right there, and most of the time a good little peck will get it out, and it is loose. It's moved, so let's give it another peck. There we go. Now I said I was going to show you two ways to fix this problem right here, just in case you need your guitar and you don't have any way of getting a Cain's brass nut. You take a little bit of painter's tape like you see right here, that's just wide enough to fit down in that slot. You can put a layer or two right down in that slot that will jack up whatever side happens to be ringing out if it is too low. However, I do not recommend doing that because it does not work long term. Eventually it's going to cave under the weight and you're just going to keep putting and putting and putting until finally it's just eaten all the way through. If it's a plastic nut, trust me, just get rid of it. You don't need the whole painter's tape thing. As easy and as accessible as some things are nowadays, you don't have to have all that. That's just a quick fix that'll last you a few days, a week, maybe two, who knows. But I've got painter's tape that is just thin enough to fit down in these slots right here. That's the reason why I showed you that one piece, because I did that on the rafter build, and I decided then I was going to go with one of these Kane's brass nuts. Now you'll see on this side there's a slot right here that comes out just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. On that side right there, you can see that there's a slot on this side that it comes out a little further on this side than this side. You want to make sure that this side that doesn't have that slot in it, you want to make sure that that slot is facing your tuning pegs, because the point of contact with the string is on this side where it's smooth. And first we're going to check and make sure that we don't have to have any kind of widening of this slot out, and it looks like we may have to widen that slot just a little. Looks like we may have to widen that just a little bit, but we have the fix for that. These little things right here are a lifesaver sometimes. What you need is the square file right there. Once you get that square file, you don't want to take any off on this side. You want to take it off on the other. And it already, I can tell that this square file is not going to fit down in there easily. Wait, right there, but I still don't like that because it may take some meat off of this side, and you don't want to do that. You just want to take off of this side over here. So let's get a flat file to do that with. If you use that and it takes meat off of this other side, it's something as little as 0.5 millimeter. It will throw the whole tuning off on each fret that you grab down the fretboard. So, okay, we swapped to this file because this file has rounded edges, and you don't want to cut deep, you just want to cut the sides. But just remember that you can get these kind of files. This is actually the file that I usually dress fret ends with, but you can get these kind of files through the Zon. If you happen to be on there looking, you got a couple of different sizes of ones that you can get of those, or you can get them at your local store, whichever is better. But the main thing you want to do is make a few passes, check. Make a few passes, check. Make a few passes, check. And when it gets up enough to where it fits down in there snug, just like that, and you can feel the ends, it's a perfect fit. When it gets in there just like that, then you know that you're ready to go as far as the gluing process. And for the glue today, we are going to use some of my Loctite super glue. This is what I always use on the nut. And the next thing you want to do is, you see these screws coming through the bottom right here. You do not want to put glue on the bottom. It's not going to touch the bottom of your nut slot anyway. It's only going to make contact with the sides right here. So what you want to do is take your glue and put a dot on the side and a dot on the side up here. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. If you have CA glue usually comes with little spouts like this right here. And I recommend using one of these. It'll be easier to get down in there and put a dot on each side. And you don't have to worry about getting any on the bottom or on the bottom of this brass nut, because if you get glue on the bottom of those screws, it's going to be hard to turn. So what I do usually with my Loctite is I just press that down on there, get it on there real good and tight. And then I just go in here. Let's see, let's test this first to make sure we got a good flow on it. And we'll get a shop towel, a little piece right here. Just get you a little piece of shop towel like this, tear a corner off or something, mash that glue, see if it's going to come out. Because once this stuff sets up, it usually sets up in a hurry. Yeah. Okay, so we got some coming out right there. I'll just set that down there and throw it away in just a second. And then we're going to get right down in the nut slot right here. And we're going to put a couple of little dots here, a little dot right there. And then we're going to come over here on this side. We're going to do the same thing. Just a little dot right down in there. And we're going to come up here and put another little dot right there. Okay, and that is all of the glue that you're going to need for this nut. So once we get that, line the nut up as best as you can. And what I generally like to do is take the rubber side. Okay, and now it is setting flush on both sides. We pegged it down into the slot. So what we're going to do from here is I'm going to put a clamp on it. Got this little tiny clamp right here, and once we get that down in there, we're just going to take this little clamp and just hold it down on it just like that. And then we're just going to leave that there for a few minutes so that it will set up and everything will be good to go as far as that. In the meantime, we take our little tip off here and go ahead and throw this away. This was an old tip, so once I've shot this Loctite in there, I'm not going to use it anymore. That Loctite will set up pretty good in that. I normally keep those for CA glue. In my other thing, I don't like to mix the two. You know, it's a chemical thing. It's a boom or something. My luck. I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm just saying that's my luck. Normally, this only takes just a few minutes for it to set up good. It's probably already set up by now. It's been just a few minutes. And I know that you guys are going to start with, now I'm talking about you guys with expensive guitars out there that like to replace bone with bone. That's perfectly fine. Or they replace any kind of nut with bone. And that's fine too. Nobody wants to have to file out the nut slot. But in this case, this guitar was a budget guitar. I wanted a nut in this guitar that was never going to need anything except for maybe adjustment on the height of this nut, and that is easily done. All you need is a tiny screwdriver to back those out and to get them to the right height. I like to start with them all the way down and then back them out little by little until I get my measurement where it needs to be, which is usually 20 thousandths of an inch, but I like about 21. So I'll go 21 on this one, and it's still going to be very much playful. You'll never be able to tell the difference. And then once you get them adjusted to the right height, then after that, all you got to do is just tune it back up and it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and take this off of here and check this out. Normally for this Loctite setup, it usually takes about it usually takes a minute for it to grab on, and then about 10 to 15 minutes for it to completely set up in there. But what we're going to do is just go ahead, because all this is going to have is down pressure on it from the string, so it's not going to move. We're not adjusting it from side to side. We're just going to put the strings on it and adjust our height. So let me get the strings back on it and I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. Okay, we got our tiny little screwdriver here. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to tighten all of these down. So let's get that. And we're not going to tighten them. We're just going to turn them until they stop turning, which means that they're at the bottom. Now, what you're going to do next is you're going to make sure that these screws are turned where the string is going to lay in the groove. So you can't leave them diagonal. You just turn them where the string lays in the groove, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's just go ahead and we're going to tighten them up a little, not to tune, just enough to get some tension on it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got some tension on our screws now, and now we're going to get our feeler gauge out. These are very handy, people. You can get these about anywhere. And what we're looking at is going to be 20 thousandths or 0.5 millimeter. That is standard. And what we're going to do is 21 thousandths, 0.53 millimeter. I don't know if you can read that or not, but these are relatively cheap. They come in on one of those luthier kits. So we've got tension on the string. Let's put just a little bit more on each just to make sure. Okay, so right here we're going on the E, 21 thousandths, and it is not, that's perfect. That's where the E string needs to be, right there. So let's go to the A string. That one's good. B string, that E string looks like it may, oh yeah, it's good. The E string looks great. B string looks good. Okay, yeah, so now we're good. Now let's, out of tune, let's tune it up. So we're going to get this up here. The reason why we didn't change strings on this is because these strings ain't even a month old. And we are basically right now starting the train. So we're tuning. Okay, so we have checked tuning. We've checked the relief. The relief is very good, right where it needs to be. I checked it with the notch leveler. We have also checked the intonation on it and made sure that everything was good with that. Of course, it was good from before. We have checked the nut. Everything is right up there. Everything that we've gone through seems to be perfect with this guitar, except I am going to change out the string trees as soon as I get some that is coming in, because these, I'm not big on these. I think these are made for maybe something a little more drastic than this. These are good string trees, but they don't have a whole lot of downforce. These act like they need to be brought back quite a bit in order to get the downforce that's supposed to be on there. So that may happen in the future. May get some a little bit more lower profile than these two to put on this guitar. But for right now, this thing is ready to play. Well, guys, that's all for that one. We've got it straightened out. I did take these string trees out that was in there and put some in a little bit lower profile. The other ones are, I don't know why, but they were up like quite a bit, and both of them were the same height. And that really didn't make much sense to me. I noticed when I was bending the bottom string, it felt just way too loose and it was coming over on that screw just a little bit. So I knew that there had to have been a problem right there. So we ended up taking those out. And this is a set that I had for another project. I went ahead and put those in. I'm going to reorder some more for the other project that I have coming up in the future. Other than that, fantastic, just fantastic. It made all the difference in the world. No ring out on that bottom string anymore. It sounds just, it sounds great. It really sounds great. I hate to even sell it. I do. I really do. I hate to let this one go. And I'm not really sure. The customer really did want it, but they're in a pinch to where they are family members. I don't know if they're going to wind up with it or not. If they do, then I know it's going to go to a good home. If they don't, then I get to keep it. I get to keep it. It will still be mine. But, other than that, it's a good playing guitar, man. I mean, handles the game very well. Kudos for that pickup right there. I'm telling you, man. For this to be $100 kit and that pickup to come in it, I mean, my Lord, that is just absolutely fabulous. Just great. We have our action set to 1.5 the same and a little over 1 down here on the bottom. Everything still plays very, very well. This one, ladies and gentlemen, is one that I would let go out the door after a spit and polish any day of the week and not give it a second worry about something being wrong with it. They will never, ever have to worry about the nut issues again that come from plastic nuts that are sent in most of these guitar kits. They will never have to worry about that again. That'll be something that's going to be there for a very long time. Did not, if anything, helped the tone just a little, kind of like it did in the PV Raptor, which I have right here. Wanted to show you guys that. I have that one right there, and it did not hurt it at all. It was the same outcome with this one as it was with that one. It kind of give it a little more of that telly twang sound, if you know what I mean. I didn't have a rig on that really emphasized on telly tones or anything. Just wanted to try some cleans and wanted to try a little bit of gain and see, exactly how it was going to act. And it acted just like way above and beyond my expectations. But anyway, string pickers, that's all I have for you in this video. I do thank you so much for coming in and joining me for another in-depth tutorial on the Kane's brass nut, adjustable height brass nut. I do like those quite a bit on the Fender and Tele side of things. Now, however, even though we did have to kind of sand out that a little bit, that nut slot, to get that to fit down in there, as long as you remember to take wood off the side close to the headstock and not the one close to the guitar body on that side of the slot, then you're in good shape. But yeah, it turned out great. Everything's intonated, in tune. It is absolutely, it just turned out amazing. So if you're looking to learn how to do something like that, I hope this video helps you out. Sometimes you don't even have to do any sanding at all. There's some guitars like the PV Raptor here that the brass nut just dropped right into the slot, real nice and snug, fell right in there with the glue, and it was done. It was over with, and that was it. That's all I had to do. Later on down the road, I do want to try the 43mm Kane's brass nut for the LP style guitars. That's all I got for you today, guys. I just want to say, as always, I pray that you and yours are having the most blessed day ever, and I pray that God is with you all. Until next time, later.
Let's go!